points so far this season has been the play of Aubrey Leach. She was just a firebrand in that Series 1, and because of it, she began today on top of the leaderboard, and what that means is she is one of our 3 captains for Series 2 action. We will see how she does calling the shots for the very first time in her pro career. AU Softball, the sport that started it all with Athletes Unlimited. 42 of the best softball players in the world, divided 3 ways. We keep track of everything with an innovative scoring system. 2 weeks of competition throughout 3 series. This is our second. New teams every single series. We have points for team wins, individual stats, and 3 different MVPs that are awarded after every game. Glad you found us. This is going to be a lot of fun. With my partner, former Tennessee All-American Madison Shipman, I am Eric Collins, and this is going to be a difficult day for Team Taylor. They've already played once today and lost once today.
There's no doubt that doubleheaders are a grind for every single team in Athletes Unlimited, but the benefit is you can bounce back immediately in the same day, and that's exactly what Team Taylor is looking to do after getting beat by Team Filler in Game 1, looking to bounce back against Team Leach in Game 2, and this is going to be our first look at the team that Aubrey Leach has put together, and we saw what a fantastic start Aubrey got off to here in this AUX season.
At Team Leach, they will be the designated visiting team, and they will bat first against Team Taylor. Let's take a look at Aubrey Leach's lineup card. Remember, she's the captain and makes all the big decisions this week. You got Leach leading herself off to begin the ball game. Tori Vidalis in the number 2 hole. Morgan Circle, who's been magnificent in her AU career. The veteran Sam Fischel in the cleanup spot. Mia Davidson, Danielle Gibson, we highlight her because she had real good success through 4 games in Series 1. Sis Bates, the all-everything defender at shortstop, the powerful Jordan Roberts, and Aaliyah Andrews out in center field covers a ton of ground. That 9 will bat against one of the best to ever come out of the Queen City of Charlotte, North Carolina, Carrie Eberly.
Carrie Eberly, known for the drop ball that she throws to both sides of the plate. It's a really heavy pitch, so it's a hard pitch to get solid barrel on. Has already thrown 9 innings in AUX, given up 6 walks, and already has 6 strikeouts, looking to limit the free passes that she gives up to this really potent Team Leach offense today.
So Aubrey Leach began the day atop the leaderboard. She is no longer tops. Remember, there was a game played earlier that she was not involved with. She's got a chance to earn her points right now. Leach not only hitting for that high batting average, but doing it with some thump. 4 doubles and a homer in 4 games a week ago.
She truly was spraying the ball all over the field, and Aubrey Leach was somebody known primarily through her college career as being a triple threat, but really went to the slap and the bunt most of the time. Really has worked on her strength in the offseason, is a big CrossFit person. Loves to get into the gym and get after it, loves the competitive aspect of CrossFit as well. But I think that strength that she's gained in the offseason is definitely helping her power numbers here in Rosemont.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Eberly to Leach. We've got 2 of the great intellectuals starting our game. You got Leach, who is in law school at the University of Tennessee, batting against Carrie Eberly, who's got a master's degree from Oklahoma State. Eberly finishing off her college experience at Oklahoma State after being an all-everything performer in the ACC at Virginia Tech. Now, one of the things we've seen with Eberly over the years is she is a ground ball waiting to happen. That has been her secret sauce. Able to induce ground balls, which in this league is huge. To center field, ambling back and not making the play is Hayward. On her way to third is Leach, and she'll make it with a slide. We'll see how that one is ruled. Victoria Hayward playing the wind and playing the sun. Not able to make a play.
Another hard hit ball off the bat of Aubrey Leach, and Victoria Hayward having to run a long way for this one. Almost looked like she overran it just a bit. You can see how it hits on that glove. Such a good swing, getting her barrel underneath that pitch. Rounds first base hard, slows up just slightly, but as soon as she notices that ball ricochet off, hustles over to third base to start off this top of the first.
Well, this is a very important official scoring. They're going to score that an error on Victoria Hayward, which means it's not a triple. and no points gained for Aubrey Leach. If it had been a triple, that would have been a plus 30. But instead, the error wipes away all the points from Leach, and also means that Carrie Eberle will not have an earned run allowed if Leach scores from third.
It was a tough play to make, but I think where that ball hit off of Victoria Hayward's glove, that's definitely a catch that she makes 9 times out of 10. But still a really hard hit ball off the bat of Leach, continuing the hot streak that we saw in Series 1, carrying that over into Series 2.
Here's TV Tori. Tori Vidalis began the day 22nd on the leaderboard. Out in front, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Vidalis did damage a week ago, Series 1, to the tune of a .429 batting average, but doesn't have a homer, which is always a surprise. She consistently hits it harder than almost everyone in the world. Hard but foul.
She saw a lot of off-speed pitches in Series 1. Had some good athletic swings on pitches outside of the zone because these pitchers know that she has so much power up at the plate, so they don't want to leave anything too sweet over the heart of the zone. Throwing her a lot of off-speeds down in the zone, also pitches way outside. But she somehow managed to get her barrel to quite a few of them in Series 1.
Vidalis works the walk. Walks are a +8. So Vidalis on at first. Leach at third. Nobody out. Here's Morgan Zirkle. Triple threat. Ball 1 to Zirkle. Best to ever come out of Milton, West Virginia. Played at Marshall. She has had great success for many years now with Athletes Unlimited. What a stop. Mulipola had to go down to her knees to make that stop. Vidalis does take an extra base. That was going to be, I'm assuming, a straight steal. She wasn't leaving when the ball hit the ground. She left when the ball was first thrown. So that's going to be a +10 for Vidalis. If you had Vidalis being the second player to pick up a stolen base on your bingo card, you're the big winner.
She did tell me that she's been trying to show off her speed this season. She was running hard out of the box on one of the balls that she hit for a base hit in Series 1, and I joked with her. I said, I thought you were about to take 2. She said, I was thinking about it. I was waiting to round first and head into second base. A lot of times, too, it doesn't necessarily matter how quick you are from base to base, but a lot of times it's about the reads that you get and the jump that you get out of the pitcher's hand. We've seen Tori Vidalis make some really good reads running the bases throughout her professional career.
Uncharacteristic. Carrie Eberle, back-to-back walks.
Coming into this ball game, she had the same amount of walks as strikeouts, and we mentioned you've got to try to limit the free passes, try to establish that strike zone early in the game. And we saw in game 1 of today's doubleheader that the zone was a bit wide, especially for Coric and Rachel Garcia getting the curveballs outside to the right-handed batters. Of course, Carrie Eberle's pitch is moving in a bit of a different direction, but I still think that she can work those corners and see just how far off of the plate that she can get those pitches called.
Here's Sam Fisher, pro's pro. He's been doing this for a long time. 6 for 15 in Series 1 for Fisher. That's a fair ball, and Taylor fortunate to get an out. Just knocked it down, smothered it, and rolled over to third to get the force out, but a run does score. That'll be an RBI for Sam Fisher, but not a base hit. And the run scores, giving a 1-0 lead to Team Leach.
We've already seen Nadia move so well to her right. Stops this one. It skips out of her glove a bit, but a heads-up play to not take the time to stand up and get to third base, but just dives over and tags third to get that out. But either way, a run does come across to score for Team Leach.
Here's Mia Davidson. Played collegiately at Mississippi State. Played high school ball in North Carolina, like the pitcher she's facing, Carrie Eberle. Over the last 10 years, looking going over to third, heads up play. That's going to be Zirkle. That'll be a stolen base. On the throwback from home to the circle, that's when Zirkle decided to take off.
Delayed steal here. You can see her taking her lead, and as soon as Deja gets rid of this throw to Carrie Eberle, immediately Morgan Zirkle takes off and dives safely into third base. a great heads-up play. Watch it. Her come off of second base, watching the ball the entire time, and that is something that you know that she thought about before that pitch was even thrown, something that she was looking for, going to be aggressive on the base paths.
Did that ball hit the bat? No, it actually hit Davidson, and that'll be a hit batsman. So Davidson takes the base. That's a +8 for her, and now Eberly has walked 2 and hit a batter.
You can feel the game really speeding up for Carrie Eberly in this inning. Goes with the pitch up and inside. Just barely clips Mia Davidson right on that left elbow. And the base is loaded again here for Carrie Eberly.
So the bases are loaded, just 1 out. And here's Danielle Gibson. .462 batter in 4 games in Series 1. Loops it foul. Gibson began the day 20th out of 42 players on the leaderboard. Second-year pro from Arkansas.
Had those 6 hits in Series 1, including 3 doubles. Remember the hot start she had in the 2022 AUX season. Had 2 home runs in the same ball game off of rise balls that I'm pretty sure were up over her helmet, and somehow she still got barrel to them.
Yeah, one of my favorite swings in the game today. Still just 1 out. Little number. In time. Sydney McKinney knew exactly how much time she had and gets the runner out at first, but another run does score. It's an RBI ground out for Gibson.
Both opportunities with bases loaded, you're seeing the defense for Team Taylor playing back, almost as if nobody were on base. So because of that, Sydney McKinney has to run a long way for this slow developing ground ball, and knowing the speed that you had over at third base with Morgan Zirkle, there was going to be no shot that you had to play at home. So McKinney makes the right call, throws across the diamond to get the second out over at first base.
Here's Sis Bates. Sis hitting in the 7th spot. Began the day 21st out of 42 on the leaderboard. Softly to second. Kelsey Stewart-Hunter throws to first in time, but 2-run score for Team Leach. Get this, without the benefit of a base hit. When we come back, Team Taylor heading to the bat rack.
Here we go.
Father's Day all across the world, celebrated here in Rosemont, Illinois, Parkway Bank Sports Complex. This was just a moment ago before the game began. We had a bunch of fathers out there throwing to their daughters, and special moment. Let's take a look at the lineup card. Nadia Taylor, captain for Team Taylor, has Sydney McKinney, the rookie from Wichita State, in the #1 hole. Victoria Hayward follows her, number 2, Nadia Taylor, is the third batter. Mulipola is the cleanup hitter. Stuart Hunter, Delaney Wiz already with 2 homers so far this season. Jasmine Jackson, Kaylee Clifton, and local product. Abby Ramirez hits ninth, shot in right field. Abby Ramirez was collegiate teammates with the starter in the circle. All right, now for Team Leach, this is Haley Wagner, both Michigan products. Wagner has been around since the very first moment that Athletes Unlimited Softball was thought of.
And the word that comes to mind when we see Haley Wagner out in the circle is consistency. The way that she's able to locate her screwball, her curveball, and her changeup consistently for strikes is what makes her one of the best in this Athletes Unlimited League. Of course, coming from the left side too, she's going to be a bit of a different look than what you're going to see from most pitchers. Only 2 lefties in the circle in in AUX this season, between her and Brooke Yanez, the only lefties out there.
Lefties over the years have had wonderful success here with Athletes Unlimited. Kat Osterman was the very first champion back in 2020. Danielle O'Toole was the champion of last year's AUX. Danielle O'Toole still involved with the league, not playing, but she is the facilitator for Team Leach. She'll be working with Aubrey Leach, and Aubrey's out in the field and trying to figure things out. She'll have help in the dugout with Danielle O'Toole, or as everyone calls her, Tooley.
Asked her what she felt about retirement, and she said, you know what, I woke up after the first day of ball games and I wasn't sore, so I was feeling pretty good.
Off-speed pitch, a thing of beauty, and Wagner strikes out McKinney.
There's that changeup that you're going to see from Haley Wagner, just pulling the string. Good movement on this pitch as well, moving down and away from Sydney McKinney. Fooled on that swing, and a good way to start off this ball game for Wagner.
Here's Victoria Hayward, veteran center fielder. Vic earlier today, 1 for 4 in the loss against Team Filler. She's now 5 for 14 with 5 walks in 5 games played so far this year with AUX. So she's played 5 games and been aboard 9 times. Man, that's a whole bunch. And my math's wrong. 5 hits, 5 walks, that's 10 times she's been aboard in 5 games.
And doesn't have a stolen base yet, too. She's
she
somebody
tried.
that has, yeah.
Earlier today, she
Yes.
was in motion, but
Yes.
the ball was put in play.
We did see Team Taylor go to that a couple of times in game 1 today using the hit and run. I believe it was when Victoria Hayward was up to bat. Jasmine Jackson was over at first base, and she smoked it out to right.
Going to be a tough chance for Bates. Never got a clean glove on it. The minute she had trouble, Vic Hayward's going to have herself a hit. So Vic happy, able to make a little bit of amends. Remember, she made that error in the top of the first inning.
Softly hit ground ball over to shortstop. Not much you can do. You've got to keep your momentum moving through that ball. Sis Bates moving all the way through it, but the speed of Victoria Hayward gets down the first baseline. Chatting with Tori Vidalis, playing first base.
Oh, my goodness.
Maybe comparing speed running the bases, do you think?
Hammered, deep center field. Nadia Taylor sends Andrews to the wall, but Andrews makes the play. We talk about the wind. I think that may be an example of the wind actually holding it in.
Looked like Nadia Taylor got a really good piece of this ball. Curveball outside, breaks back over the plate. Nice job by Aaliyah Andrews out in center field, tracking that one all the way to the wall, getting it in time, preventing Victoria Hayward from moving over to second base.
Off-speed pitch, and Hayward picked a great pitch to run on. Allows her to steal. That's her first steal of the season. So Vic gets a +10. She's got a +20 with the single and the stolen base, and now she's in scoring position.
Take a look at the way that Haley Wagner dives out of the way of this pitch, too. It's almost like she was diving in the circle. Either way, Victoria Hayward with a stolen base into scoring position.
Mulipola Drives it in the gap, right center field. Gone! A homer! Deja vu! Second consecutive game with a homer for Deja Mulipola.
Leaves the premises. They measure 255 feet to right
Pretty nice
center.
comeback for Team Taylor. They gave up 2 in the top. They answer with 2 in the bottom.
A couple of really nice swings, too, from these batters. And Deja Mulipola, knowing that Haley Wagner likes to go with that curveball to both sides of the plate, gets one outside and drives it opposite field. Hits it just far enough to get over that right field wall to tie up this ball game with just one swing of the bat. That hit traveling almost 256 feet out to right field.
Dating back to the end of our first game today, Mulipola has homered in the last 2 at-bats. She's got 3 homers so far through 6 games. Here's Kelsey Stewart-Hunter. Stewart-Hunter 0 for 2 in the first game today. Did draw a walk. Kelsey Stewart-Hunter from Wichita, Kansas. That's Big 12 country. Played her college ball in the SEC at Florida. Nice play, TV Tori Vidalis. Knew the cameras were on her. Makes a nice play and dives to first to retire the side. But the home run by Mulipola makes it interesting.
Tying up this ball game with one swing of the bat, Deja Mulipola showing us another reason why she was the 2022 AU champion. Back again this season, showing off the power.
Well, both sides scoring 2 runs in their half of the first inning. Team Leach, Team Taylor. So we have a rollover second inning. This inning will be worth 20 points to whichever side can outscore the other. Well, this inning, star in the stands, something fun to keep an eye on. We've got Brooke Giannis holding a microphone. And Brooke, this is awesome. Not only are you there hanging out with us, but you're also hanging out with some softball royalty, Jessie Warren, right?
Yep, here with Jessie Warren from FSU. It's honestly an honor to sitting next to her and just being on her team as well. I think it's just super cool being able to play with athletes like her.
Now, it's still early in this AUX season, Brooke, but is there anybody in particular that you've learned something from early on in this season?
I think the facilitators, especially Danielle O'Toole, she's just been a big, great help for us, especially her being left-handed, I'm left-handed, and she's definitely helped me and given us a few pointers, just us pitchers, figuring out kind of how to throw to these batters. You can't let up on a single one, so.
I'm always curious, too, to hear from a pitcher's perspective how you would attack a certain batter. And we've got Jordan Roberts, a righty, a lot of power coming from that right side. If you were in the circle right now, where would you be locating some of your pitches to her?
I think, well, when I did face her, I threw mostly down, and then she did get a good hold of one of mine and sent it out the yard. But lesson learned. But but I think just throwing down and off speed, I think, is a big game changer for some of these hitters. But honestly, it's just how they're feeling when they wake up. If they're feeling good, they're going to show it. So.
Well, Brooke, congratulations. You guys had a nice win earlier today. You got a save and 2 innings of scoreless work. We're going to check in with you a bit later, okay?
All right, thank you.
Brooke Yana is our star in the stands. Roberts got that one off the end of the bat. Foul territory, out of play. Jordan Roberts, Aaliyah Andrews, and Aubrey Leach, 3 former SEC all-everything performers, batting here in the 2nd inning against Carrie Eberly. Roberts from Florida, Andrews, LSU, Leach, Tennessee. Off the thumbs. So we saw the last pitch off the end of the bat. This one off the handle of the bat.
Working both sides of the plate with that drop ball, and it's got such heavy downward movement. As a batter, you almost have to swing where it's going to end up, because if you swing it where you see it, you're going to swing on top of that pitch. So you have to anticipate how much drop that pitch down in the zone is going to have on it.
Really good at bat to begin the 2nd inning. Eberly walks Roberts. So Eberly, she's faced 8 batters, doesn't give up a hit yet, but she's had a whole bunch of traffic. Did that hit her, or is that just a ball?
Looks like it hit her right on the back knee.
It did.
Yeah, inside of the back knee. So a couple of hit batters already, 2 in this ball game, and a couple of walks given up.
It doesn't make a difference if it was a hit batter or a walk. Both are a +8.
One just happens to be a bit more painful
Correct.
than the other one.
I always wonder, if you get hit with a pitch when there's a 3-ball count on you, why is it hit batter? It's really ball 4 too, right?
One and the same. Mariah Masson getting loose out in that Team Taylor bullpen.
So Eberly trying to get out of her own way right now. She has not given up a base hit, but she's been in consistent trouble. Nicole Mendez comes on to pinch run for Roberts. So Mendez on it first, nobody out. Here's Andrews. Both her and her sister have played with Athletes Unlimited. AJ Andrews played in the inaugural season of any sport with Athletes Unlimited back in 2020.
Both of them make fantastic catches out in the outfield too, cover so much ground out in the grass.
Seems odd to have sisters playing elite level softball, huh? Madison Chipman?
I'm a little familiar with that concept.
Are you allowed to do that? Is that something that ever happens?
My sister and I played completely different positions, though. My knees would not allow me to be back behind the plate and catching every single ball game like my sister.
On the ground, Clifton wins the race to first by a whisker. It won't go down as a sacrifice, but it does the same thing. Runner into second base with 1 out. And back to the top of the order.
So important to have those productive at-bats. It might not be the result that Aaliyah Andrews wants, but it moves Nicole Mendez over into scoring position with the hottest hitter so far in AUX up at the plate in Aubrey Leach.
Leach, first time up, drove it to the gap in left center field. Victoria Hayward got all the way there and just couldn't squeeze it. It was ruled an error, so no points accumulated for Leach. Just looking at the scorecard here, Eberly doing her thing. Of the outs that she's recorded, they've all been ground ball outs. There's another ground ball, but no out. Clifton can't make the play. Oh, it's death by 1,000 cuts for Eberly. And oh, they've got Leach in a pickle. And Leach stays alive. And everyone's going to be safe. Leach goes back to first. Interesting.
Next up, the first base.
I think Leach wanted to be on at first. I think she could have easily gone to second, but she wants the first and third situation. Is that possible?
Well, and I think she was trying to get into a rundown to draw the defenders over to her attention to possibly score Nicole Mendez. When they were getting into that rundown over there, you can see she takes off here.
But here in that rundown, there was no one covering second. She could have easily ran to second. I think, yeah, she just wants to goof around. That's a stolen base. That is brilliant, Aubrey Leach. She just picked up an extra 10 points because she's super smart at what she's doing. She could have went to second a moment ago, but she wouldn't have gotten any points for it. Oh, my goodness. To third, Taylor looks the runner back, doesn't have enough arm. Vidalis beats it out, and a run scores. Leach to third. She's out there. There's the second out, but a run does score. It's now a 3-2 lead for Team Leach. Oh, what goofy softball we've had.
The speed on the base path's causing a lot of havoc for Team Taylor. They're just putting the ball in play, forcing the defense to have to make plays. And then Aubrey Leach on the base paths just going back and forth. The stolen base, trying to take an extra 60 feet there. Putting a lot of pressure on this defense early in this ball game.
Here's Morgan Zirkle with Vidalis on at first. In case you're wondering, Leach on that ball that she hit to Kaylee Clifton that went off of Clifton's glove was given a base hit. That's big. Official scoring is huge in this league because every moment counts. So instead of an error on Clifton, it's a hit, which means a plus 10 for Leach. She got another 10 for stealing second base.
Isn't it crazy how the game works? You smoke a ball out to center field, and it's ruled an error on the dropped ball. And then you hit one weakly over to first base, and it's charged a hit.
That's the only base hit allowed by Eberle. So there's been so much traffic going on, and there hasn't been a base hit out of the infield for Team Leach. Morgan Zirkle trying to keep the inning alive. Vidalis on at first. Already one run in. Nice pitch by Eberle to strike out Zirkle. And I'm not sure Carrie Eberle realizes that's out number 3. But it is. And the side is retired. Team Leach, they score a run though. And it is a 3-2 lead for Team Leach over Team Taylor, the bottom of the second when we come back.
Second place, 40 points for her efforts.
Athletes Unlimited Softball on ESPN is sponsored by Aspiration, a global leader in financing climate impact. Father's Day softball here in Rosemont, Illinois. All of these players tipping their cap to the fathers that were more than likely instrumental in helping them get here to Chicago and playing professional softball. 3-2 lead, Team Leach over Team Taylor. Biggest risers from Series 1 to Season 2. How about the woman in the circle right there? Haley Wagner jumped up 26 spots. And there's a reason for that. She pitched well, and we saw the importance of quality pitching with all the offense that was put on the board in Series 1.
And she was one of the pitchers, too, that got pretty close to throwing a complete game. 1 out away, actually, from throwing a complete game. Something you just do not see here in AUX.
Delaney Wiz leads things off. Already 2 homers so far in her young pro career. It'll be Wiz, Jackson, and Clifton. Let's check in now with the third member of our crew, Savannah Collins.
Hey, Eric, the sun is going to be giving these players trouble in a minute because it's starting to give me trouble out here.
Wanted to ask you about the draft. We mentioned the fact that Haley Wagner was the biggest mover up, moving up 26 spots. Any trends that you noticed, Savannah?
Definitely. Haley Wagner going this early was a part of Leach's plan. She talked about how she knew she wanted to get 2 pitchers right off the bat, but getting that third, almost like a bonus pitcher, as she described Peyton St. George. She just knew that was the name of the game in Series 1. Having a pitcher like Wagner who can throw multiple innings, almost a complete game, like you mentioned, because they are going to have to play this doubleheader, and having the ability to put together a staff who could possibly put together 2 wins on the doubleheader day would be huge in the win point category. So far, no one's done it this season.
And Savannah, I'm always curious too, for these team captains, how many decisions are maybe they're bouncing off of some of their teammates, or are they making a lot of these decisions themselves?
I'm so glad you asked that. So I was talking to Aubrey Leach after the draft just about what that experience is like inside the draft room. And they all were just talking about different players who kind of take a laid-back approach to the draft, and then the ones who just are able to contribute. Okay, so-and-so needs 2 more corner infielders, and then, well, they already have their catcher, so we don't need to draft a catcher right now. They actually mentioned Amanda Lorenz as somebody who's often like that in a draft room. Once she's on your team, she is helping you put those pieces together.
Solid base hit single into center field for Delaney Wiz. Runner aboard with nobody out.
I know there's a lot of position requirements, too, that come into these drafts, and always curious for some of these captains, do they just go strategically with the pitchers 1, 2, 3 out of the gate like Aubrey Leach did, or do they try to mix in some position players in there like Nadia Taylor did, going with Victoria Hayward from her 3rd pick? What do you see from the different captains in their draft strategy when it comes to pitchers versus position players?
Totally. You know, I talked to a lot of them about that, just going into the draft. What did you want more than anything else? What did you need to have first before you felt comfortable? You know, for Leach, she talked about having those pitchers was her #1 priority, and then after that was hot hitters over consistent hitters. She said, you know, this is a short season. They're playing for 2 weeks. She wants people who's kind of on fire right now. But then you see someone like Nadia Taylor who takes a different approach. One thing that's really interesting about the teams is sometimes they take on the identity of their captain a little bit. So last game with Captain Filler, a team that's super flexible, that can play multiple positions. That's who Filler is too. So it's neat to see them adapt kind of who they are as an athlete. It seems like that seeps into their team a little bit too.
Savannah, great stuff. Love it. We'll check in with her in a bit. Runner on at first base. Nobody out. Jasmine Jackson is the batter. And that hits Jackson when she's in the box. Nothing but a strike. Madison, something that I've always believed in when I watch softball, and it goes contrary to what Savannah was talking about hot players, I'm a big believer that everything equals out. When I see that Deja Mulipola in Series 1 goes 2 for 13 with a bat in her hands, I'm like, okay, she is due. That's the person on my team. And so far, she has been here in Series 2. She's already got a couple of homers this afternoon. Oh, Vidalis was hoping someone was going to be on at second. There wasn't. And it's going to be everyone safe.
Team Taylor taking a page out of Team Leach's playbook here, just putting the ball in play and causing some chaos. Ton of speed coming from the left side, hits this one at a 3-4 hole, and Tori Vidalis has the right idea to try to get this lead out over at second base, but look at how far over into the 5-6 hole Sis Bates was playing, respecting the slap that Jasmine Jackson has coming from the left side. And because of that slight hesitation, allows her to reach base safely.
Clifton, that's a base hit. Kaylee Clifton, her first base hit of the season. Out at home. Wonderful relay, and Wiz is cut down.
Leach relay.
Davidson lays down the tag, and that saves the day for at least the moment.
Number 10, Abby Ramirez.
A really nicely executed defensive play by Team Leach. This ball hit out to right field. Zirkle cuts it off, throws it into the cutoff, and a perfect throw by Tori Vidalis to Mia Davidson, who puts down a really nice tag here. Gets it just in time. See it from another angle. Gets it just before Delaney Wiz touches home plate. A nice relay in from the outfield there.
9-3-2 on the put out at home. So 3 consecutive singles for Team Taylor here in the second inning, but nothing to show for it. Now Abby Ramirez trying to do something with 1 out. This will be a battle. These two know each other so well. There's the relay from Vidalis. Picture perfect. Oh yeah, no doubt.
And look at the positioning of Mia Davidson too, making sure that she's still giving that runner a path to the base, but then quickly applies that tag as soon as she gets that ball. It's a great look here. Really nice tag by Mia back behind the plate.
Abby Ramirez, Haley Wagner, teammates at Michigan together. Teammates playing for legendary Coach Hutch. And they both have been kicking around Pro League for a long time now. Both members of the NPF and both charter members of Athletes Unlimited dating back to 2020. Fouled off the catcher's glove. Ramirez stays alive.
You know, Eric, we were briefly talking about draft strategy before all of a sudden a bunch of chaos happened out in the infield. But it is interesting in this AUX season because it's so short and because there's not a ton of time. I understand the strategy of Aubrey Leach of going more with the hot hitters because that's who you need right in this moment. And it might not necessarily be even results-based.
Wagner, beautiful play, but then throws it down the right field line. An error allows the run to score. And we are tied at 3.
Shortstop, 26.
Oh, Wagner did such a good job of fielding her position. Just couldn't locate first.
Softly hit ground ball right back to her. Looks the runner back at third base. Has to spin to make this throw over. Good footwork, but just doesn't close her body enough on that throw. Doesn't follow through enough to the left side of Tori Vidalis to make that throw over there.
So still just 1 out. Ramirez is on at second. It's ruled an error on the pitcher, so no base hit, no run batted in for Ramirez. Runners on at second and third. And now Team Taylor with a real opportunity to win this inning, which would be worth 20 points for everyone on Team Taylor. If they can get the runner in from third, it'll be a plus 20 for everyone on Team Taylor. Bunt's laid down and it rolls foul. There's no way Clifton could have tried to come down the line if that had stayed fair. Ball and 2 strikes to McKinney. Chopper. That'll find a home in center field. It'll be an inning win for Team Taylor. 2-run score. The rookie, Sydney McKinney, drives in a pair and gives everyone on Team Taylor 20 points.
Center fielder, number 1, Victoria Hayward.
McKinney just does such a good job of finding a hole, a pitch outside, driving it straight back up the middle. A good jump by Abby Ramirez over at second base, too. No hesitation, rounding third, coming into home. And I thought Tori Vidalis was going to have Sydney McKinney hung out in between first and second. But because she drops that ball, that's what allows McKinney to reach base safely.
For every run scored during this year's Athletes Unlimited AUX season aspiration, committed to planting 10 trees. Stay tuned throughout the season to see how many trees will be planted thanks to Aspirations support. Earlier today, we had 10 more runs scored, 100 trees, 8-2 win for Team Filler over Team Taylor. Already in this Second game, 8 runs have scored. We haven't had a half inning without a run scored. It is a 5-3 lead for Team Taylor. Victoria Hayward, that is a fair ball. And they're going to give her a sacrifice, I think. Smart softball there for Vic. It moves McKinney up an extra 60 feet, and it's going to give Vic Hayward an extra 10 points for the sacrifice.
A lot of backspin on this bunt that she put down. You can see how it kicks back towards Mia Davidson, picks that one up barehanded, fires it to first base to get the second out of this inning.
Yeah, you'll never convince me that anyone understands how this game is played more than Victoria Hayward. She knows the points breakdown. She has got it all figured out, and it's not a coincidence. She is the original person to commit to Athletes Unlimited way back when. We're going to take a timeout. We've got a pitching change. Tell you about the new pitcher when we come back to Rosemont. Coming up tonight at 7 Eastern, 6 Central on ESPN2 and ESPN Plus, we've got the College World Series winners bracket matchup between Florida and Oral Roberts. Both won dramatic ninth inning comebacks on Friday, trying to keep the mojo going. Now Team Leach trying to change their mojo. They change pitchers. Haley Wagner is lifted, and it's going to be second-year pro Peyton St. George coming into the game.
Going to be a different look that you're going to see from Peyton St. George, of course, coming from the right side. Going to throw with some pretty good velocity. She can bring it in the mid to upper 60s. Really likes to work up in the zone. Has a really nice changeup that she's going to throw in there. Already 5 2/3 innings pitched so far in AUX. Now right there was a good look at the off speed that you're going to see. Nadia Taylor taking a big hack at that one to bring this count back to even.
The captain, Nadia Taylor, began this series second on the leaderboard. Second only Aubrey Leach. Didn't mean to, couldn't stop. And she's now in the hole, ball and 2 strikes. Peyton St. George, one of the select few that put Duke Blue Devil softball on the map. And she strikes out Taylor. And that'll retire the side. Nadia Taylor is retired, but her team is smiling. They lead 5-3 and have all 20 inning wins. Top of the third inning, Team Taylor on top of Team Leach, 5-3. The captain for Team Leach, Aubrey Leach, wearing a microphone. Let's go into the game with the Air National Guard.
She's not missing, it's just elevated. So, yeah.
So what's your limit here? Because if that happens again, I'm not really willing to give up the 2 runs we just got. So
I kind of want them to keep carrying though.
Yeah, me too. I agree.
So like if we switch, it's an inclination for them to switch. So it's kind of like.
Okay, I'll leave.
How you feel?
I feel good.
Okay.
Yeah. Thinking of who's up.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm good.
I trust you.
Let's do it.
Yep.
Here we go. We have one. Oh. Yep.
One down.
Keep going. I'm all
Checking hard.
Here we go.
Getting her out.
There's a lot more responsibility when you're a team captain. When you're just put on these teams, then you can go out there and perform, worry about your individual performance. But right there just gives you a glimpse into what it's like to be a captain here in Athletes Unlimited. Every single decision has to run through you, whether it's pitching changes, pinch hitters, pinch runners. All of those things are constantly going through the mind of somebody like Aubrey Leach today, making those decisions, really relying on her facilitator too, Danielle O'Toole, of course, with a ton of Athletes Unlimited experience, but just somebody else that you can kind of bounce ideas off of.
Seemed natural, didn't it? Aubrey Leach taking
Natural
charge of that infield.
Yes.
Yeah, that was really cool.
I even like the conversation between her and Haley Wagner, just saying, I trust you in this situation. You can get us out of it. Love to hear those types of things.
Sam Fisher batting against Carrie Eberly. After Fisher, Mia Davidson, and then Danielle Gibson. Now, how about this? This is a little bit interesting right here. Nadia Taylor making a change defensively by flip-flopping Kelsey Stewart-Hunter and Kaylee Clifton. Clifton began the game at first with Stewart-Hunter at second, and now they're playing opposite positions. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Kelsey Stewart-Hunter does have her first baseman's glove over at first now.
Okay, you're right.
We've seen Lily Piper move all over the infield, typically keeping her same glove with her, but Kelsey making the change.
I predict the ball will find either one of those two on a hard play this half inning. Usually if you make any kind of changes defensively, if you bring in a new outfielder or whatever, the ball finds you.
It finds you immediately. Now we're just going to be sitting here watching and waiting to see if anything's going to get hit to the right side.
Fisher can't put the ball in play. Eberly strikes her out. So dating back to the end of the second inning, that's back-to-back strikeouts for Carrie Eberly. Well, Sunday night baseball coming your way tonight, featuring the Yankees and the Red Sox for the second straight week, finishing up a 3-game series at Fenway Park. You can find it at ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and ESPN Radio. Coverage begins 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific with baseball tonight. Sunday night countdown. All right, here's the battle once again for North Carolina state supremacy. Both Eberly and Mia Davidson hail from the Tar Heel State. And both got away from a bevy of Division I North Carolina schools to play their college softball. Carrie Eberly is from Charlotte, North Carolina, played at Virginia Tech and at Oklahoma State. Mia Davidson, 2-time State Player of the Year in North Carolina, went to the SEC and played at Mississippi State.
And is the all-time SEC home runs leader, too.
High pop-up, Kelsey Stewart. Oh, my goodness, lost it in the sun. Biggest glove in the field.
We knew the ball was going to get hit that direction eventually at some point in this inning.
Yeah.
She's trying to use that mitt to block the sun. Charges it, loses it. Looks like Deja tried to recover for her, but just too late.
Foul ball, no damage done. But it does give Davidson an extra swing, and she can't take advantage of it. Takes a ball on the outer part of the plate, and it's strike 3. 3 straight strikeouts for Eberly.
I feel like throughout Series 2 so far, we've seen a much larger strike zone, especially outside to these right-handed batters. Mia Davidson taking that one for strike 3. She can't believe it. Kelsey Stewart-Hunter very happy about that strikeout.
Danielle Gibson hits it in between Clifton and Stewart-Hunter. Clean single to right field. That's just the second hit allowed by Eberly. 2-out base runner here in the third. So Eberly had retired 3 in a row via the strikeout before that hit by Gibson. Here's Sis Bates. Sis bounced out to second, first time up. That ended the first inning. If you can find anyone who plays with more energy than Sis Bates, I'm willing to discuss it.
The left side of the infield for Team Leach between Sam Fisher at third base and Sis Bates over at shortstop. That's a lot of energy on one side of the infield. Not to mention Tori Vidalis over at first base. It's a lot of chatter in the infielders. A little bit more stoic for Team Taylor, although we know Nadia Taylor does like to lead the cheers in the dugout for her squad.
Two balls and 2 strikes. Second game of the day. First game, though, for Team Leach. They're the fresher team. They were just hanging around the ballpark watching earlier today as Team Filler defeated Team Taylor. Popped up in the infield. Stewart, can she find it? Yes, this time she does. I'm not sure that Clifton knew where it was, so Stewart took control. An eventful, scoreless half inning comes to an end. Bottom of the third inning, Team Taylor flexing a little bit of muscle. They lead Team Leach 5-3. We've got inning points on the line. Experience the action of AUX Softball in person right here in Rosemont. Join us tomorrow, 5 o'clock, 7:30 Central, with your first 250 fans getting a Juneteenth tote bag. That'd be cool. Go to auprosports.com/tickets to buy yours today. Tomorrow's game's at 5 and 7:30 Central. Brooke Yanez, star in the stands, been hanging out all afternoon long. What's going on over there, Brooke?
Nothing much, just hanging with the kids, watching a great game.
Brooke, in this ball game, it seems like we've been using the term chaos a lot with some of the errors that have been made defensively, the base runners taking an extra 60 feet. When you're out there in the circle, what are some things that you do to try to slow down the game a bit? Because oftentimes it feels like the game is speeding up for some of these players out there.
Yeah, usually when chaos like that happens, it's just pitchers needing to stick to their routine and slow the game down, and also just continuing to trust in their defense, knowing that errors don't happen too often, especially here, but when they do, you got to be able to stop that momentum and stop that bleeding on the other side of the field.
And we've seen some great defensive plays being made here at AUX so far, a couple of them coming from the player that's sitting right next to you and Jesse Warren. On the flip side, what does a great defensive play do for your confidence when you're in the circle?
It's definitely a huge boost, especially with these batters. It is super hard to get them out, so any little bit helps with your defense, and you can just tell that everyone out on defense, they really want it for themselves, for the team, and for the pitcher in the circle. So I feel like that's the most important. Just doing things for the team, whether you've played with them before 1 week or you've never played with them at all. So I think that's really cool too, just playing with new teammates every week. I think that's the beauty in it. But yeah, just capitalizing on any defensive play anyone can make, but also the runners capitalizing on errors as well. I think that's huge too.
Deja Mulipola is the batter. She homered her last time up. Remember, she homered her last at bat in our first game earlier today. We're looking at you, Brooke, right, Yana. You're still wearing your uniform. You were number 16. You played at UCLA. I'm thinking Lisa Fernandez when I see that 16.
Yes, 100% for Lisa Fernandez. She's done so much for me in my short time at UCLA, her and Kelly Inoue Perez. But yeah, definitely for her. We went through a lot together this year, and we got to know each other a bit more, and I wish I had more time with them. But this is definitely to her. I told her, she loved it, so I said, you're stuck with me forever, whether you like it or not.
Great stuff. Muzipola strikes out. That's the first out. All right, I'm going to put your feet to the fire, Brooke. You're next to Jessie Warren, one of my all-time favorite players. She wears number 30. Unlike you, she's not in uniform right now, but she wears 30 everywhere she's been. Do you know why?
I do not know why.
Oh, no. And you're a native Californian, am I right? Golden State Warriors?
Oh, for good old Mr. Steph Curry. I knew that.
I think that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Super cool, yeah.
All right, now you know, the world knows, Jessie Warren wears number 30 because of Steph Curry. A little crossover action.
It's okay, Brooke. I didn't know either, so I just learned something too.
Thank you, thank you.
All right,
Getting
Brooke,
to know her, though.
We're going to check in a little later on with you.
All right, thank you.
Here's Kelsey Stewart Hunter. So how about Peyton St. George? She came out of the pen. Dangerous situation in the bottom of the second inning. She struck out Nadia Taylor. Now she strikes out Mulipola to begin our third inning. Little looper, second baseman Leach makes the basket catch. 2 down.
So far, she's really been able to locate that off-speed pitch for a strike. You just saw Kelsey Stewart Hunter swing out in front. A nice, easy fly ball over to Aubrey Leach. I feel like that strikeout to Deja Mulipola to start off this inning really just sets the tone for the appearance that you're going to have in the circle. Peyton St. George looking very poised and composed out there so far throughout her appearance.
Here's Delaney Wiz. She has had a wonderful day in the first game, and in our second game, she's got a combined 3 hits in 4 at-bats, including a homer. Hits this one in the air, shallow left center field, making the play, Alea Andrews. So Peyton St. George, how do you do? Comes out of the pen. She's retired 4 consecutive. To the 4th we go here in Rosemont.
Good job.
I'll do that strike. I'll do that strike.
Happy Father's Day to all the daddies out there, especially my husband and my father. Oh, and my G-Pops. Happy Father's Day, people. I hate me for that. That was a great pitch to hit. That's a third dribbler today. Third. Is that your first strikeout? Oh, you struck out? I struck out 2 times in my first game. Oh, did you? I don't remember your hit.
Great stuff. Kelsey Stewart-Hunter wearing a microphone.
I love the self-talk after she watched the pitch that she wanted to hit go by for a strike. Just love getting the insight into what these players are thinking in real time when they're out there on the field, even giving some shout-outs too for Father's Day.
Kelsey Stewart-Hunter, former Florida Gator, just like the batter in the right-handed batter's box, Jordan Roberts. Roberts hit with a pitch. That's a +8. That was back in the 2nd inning. This ball sky to left field. Wynn's going to take it out of here. Jordan Roberts, 2nd homer of the season. And here comes Team Leach. Their 4th run of the game. It's a 1-run game.
Jordan Roberts has such a powerful swing coming from the right side, and you know she's seeing the ball well. We've seen her hit a home run to the opposite field, and now this is a changeup. Look at the way that she sinks her weight into her front leg, but keeps her hands high. That's what allows her to still get good contact on this pitch, even though she was out in front of it, driving it 227 feet over that left field wall for a solo shot to give her team a run in the top of the 4th inning.
Jordan Roberts is locked in. She is now 5 for 9 here in AUX with the 2 homers and 5 runs batted in. Aaliyah Andrews, dribbler foul. 0-2 to Andrews. Carrie Eberle was in and out of trouble for the first 2 innings, seemed to settle down in the 3rd. A couple of strikeouts and then that 2-out base hit by Gibson, but then she retired Bates. Eberle, nope, no chance. Smartly put it in her back pocket. Infield single for Andrews.
75, Aubrey Leach.
Athletes Unlimited and Topps have unveiled the first ever set of trading cards that feature all 4 Athletes Unlimited sports combined in one set. The 200-card base set features 185 athletes from the 2022 seasons and are available at major retailers such as Target, Barnes & Noble, hobby shops, and through Topps.com and Fanatics.com. It's a pretty cool concept. Back to the top of the order, and Aubrey Leach, her 3rd look at Carrie Eberle.
Carrie Eberle trying to work that first pitch inside to Aubrey Leach, and I'm not sure how it somehow missed Leach, because I'm pretty sure that that pitch ended up well into the left-handed batter's box, but showing off the athleticism, moving out of the way.
Andrews a threat to run. Still nobody out, already a run in for Team Leach. This is a rollover inning. Neither side scored in the 3rd, so whoever wins this inning is going to get a +20. Every person on the team a +20. Man, is that a confident swing from Leach?
Jordan.
Yeah, she's swinging the bat really well right now, seeing the ball well as well. You can see the infield defense too, the way that they're lined up. Because Aubrey Leach is one of those triple threat lefties, she can bunt, slap, and hit away. You're going to notice that the second baseman, Kaylee Clifton's actually going to be covering second on a steal, because Sydney McKinney, the shortstop's pulled more into the 5-6 hole, respecting the slap that Aubrey Leach can go to up at the plate. When you have these triple threat lefties, it makes it so difficult for the defenses to figure out where they want to position themselves to put themselves in the best spot to try to make a play.
Oh my! Aubrey, did you? Yes! A 2-run homer for the captain, Aubrey Leach!
249 feet to raise the
Folks, she's a totally different player this year.
It was the captain, Aubrey Leach.
And just as we were talking about the infield defense, Aubrey Leach says, you know what, it doesn't matter where you play me because nobody is touching this ball. A drop ball low and inside, and she gets her barrel underneath. A 2-run shot out to right field. That is not an easy pitch to get solid barrel on. But Aubrey Leach has just been swinging the bat so hot so far in AUX and continuing the tear here into Series 2 with that 2-run home run, and gives her team the lead in the top of the 4th inning.
Aubrey Leach had played 29 games of Athletes Unlimited without a homer her first 2 seasons. She's got 2 already in AUX action. Back in a moment.
Dallas.
Welcome back. I'm with Captain Aubrey Leach. Aubrey, this offense is exploding. I first want to back up 1 home run before yours to Jordan Roberts. You said she was the steal of the draft for you. Why is that?
I think Jordan just has such good composure, and it makes her a great not only pinch hitter, but just like a hitter that you can count on in our lineup. She's always giving great at-bats. She makes great contact, and as you saw with the home run, like that's what we expect out of Jordan, and she's here for it.
Your team has been crafty, and there's a moment that we've been talking about on broadcast a little bit when you could have taken off for second base. You came back to first even though there was no one covering. Tell me a little bit about your strategy and what you were thinking there.
Yeah, Tori. Really, it was just trying to create a little more chaos, and I think with speed on the corners on first and third, running a first and third is like, I guess, a better way for us to potentially score, or, you know, wreak havoc and make something happen. If I just take second, yeah, we're both in scoring position, but I really wanted to push one more run, and so that was the way to do it.
And points on the steal for you. Thank you, Aubrey. Back to you guys.
Great stuff, Savannah. Fantastic question, even better response. Tori Vidalis gets herself a double. That's a +20 for Vidalis. One of the great things to me about high-level fast pitch is the decisions that are made instantaneously, and clearly Aubrey Leach thinks at a higher level.
And you just watch and listen to Aubrey Leach talk about her decision making, and it's almost like she's thinking 1, 2, 3 pitches ahead of what's happening, and all of that is going on in her mind, and she's still able to perform at elite level. She really looks comfortable in this captain role, not something that's easy to do, as we mentioned, all of the other responsibilities that come with being a team captain, but she has handled it so well. And she's still able to do what she normally does up at the plate so far this year, hitting the long ball, but also causing that havoc on the base paths by taking an extra 60 feet here and there.
All right, let's reset. Still nobody out here in the top of the 4th inning. Already 3 runs are scored. You got TV Tori Vidalis at second. New pitcher Mariah Marson is the pitcher. Masson comes on in relief of Carrie Eberle. This is Masson's 2nd year with Athletes Unlimited.
See these team captains being really strategic about how they bring in some of these pitchers and when they bring them in. Masson coming into this ball game after Carrie Eberle, who throws that heavy drop ball, and now Masson's going to bring the velocity up there. She's going to throw it in the upper 60s, but really likes to work the ball more up in the zone. Can throw a drop ball, but really utilizes that velocity to try to get up and underneath the hands of these hitters.
Well, if anyone feels comfortable in the uniform this week, it should be Masson. She played at Oregon State. And of course, the Beavers wear orange and black. Her entire wardrobe probably fits with the team that she's on this week. Bouncing ball right side. Morgan Zirkle stays alive. Zirkle so far today hadn't put the ball in play, but she has scored a run. Walked, stole a base, and scored in the first, struck out in the second. And now it looks like there's nothing that Masson can throw to strike her out. She has been locked in, spoiling pitches left and right. Already 8 pitches thrown. This will be the 9th to Zirkle. Another foul ball.
When you see a lot of pitches, when a new pitcher comes into the ball game, not only does it help you within your one at bat, but it also gives the batters behind you more and more looks at these pitchers before they even step into the box. Deja Mulipola coming out to have a quick conversation with Mariah Masson. And as that was happening, Morgan Zirkle and Sam Fisher on the offensive side coming together to have a quick chat about what Morgan Zirkle's been seeing out of Masson so far in her 10-pitch at bat.
On the ground, Clifton. That'll move Vidalis over to third. That's the first out of the 4th inning.
52, Sam Fisher.
Next in line for Team Leach, it's their cleanup hitter, Sam Fisher. Another soft roller. Clifton makes the play in front of her at first, but another run scores. That's the second time today that Sam Fisher has driven in a run with a ground ball out. And the lead is now 7-5 for Team Leach.
They've done a nice job of just stringing together quality at-bats. And right there, Sam Fisher knows with a runner over at third base, she just has to get the ball over to the right side to bring across another insurance run. She does exactly that.
3 consecutive balls right to Clifton. Couple of grounders and a humpback liner. Side is retired. So that'll do it for our 4th inning, but already a 4-run burst for Team Leach.
Team Leach showing off the long ball. It started with the home run off the bat of Jordan Roberts, and then how about Aubrey Leach, the team captain, getting it done herself with the 2-run shot, and now Team Leach up 7-5.
Coming up tonight, 7 Eastern, 6 Central on ESPN2 and ESPN Plus. We've got the College World Series winners bracket matchup between Florida and Oral Roberts. Both won 9th inning comeback wins on Friday. Trying to keep it going. Now, so far, so good for Team Leach. They lead the entire ball game, and they also lead this fourth inning with 20 inning points on the line. They scored 4 times in their half of the fourth, so they're trying to hold the line and win more innings. Bottom of the fourth inning, Aubrey Leach is wearing a microphone and she's got an earpiece in the ear. Aubrey, can you hear us?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Well, you're doing everything perfectly right now.
Sup? Oh, thank you.
Really impressed with the way you're swinging the bat. Did you feel great when you came to Rosemont? Did you know you're going to get a great start to your season?
Honestly, being with Tennessee at the World Series, I didn't get a ton of my own swings. We were obviously prepping for our kids to get all the reps, and so I was a little nervous coming in to make sure that preparation I had worked on all spring had, stayed the week I didn't get a ton of reps in, and it has, so I'm very thankful.
And Aubrey, I know that you love to do CrossFit, and that's where you get a lot of your strength training from. Do you think that that's helped you when it comes to the power that we're seeing so far in this AUX?
Definitely. Definitely attribute more of my confidence and the way I'm swinging it and how I can trust my hands to be a little later, all to CrossFit. I just feel so much stronger and confident in what I'm able to do. Good pitch, P.
We often talk about how when you're in this team captain role, you have so many other responsibilities other than just going out there and doing your job, performing on the field. But it seems like you've been able to handle everything so fantastically so far through this series too. How are you able to handle so many things at once? Although we shouldn't be surprised knowing that you're in law school as well while doing all of this.
Yep, I'm taking the notes of multitasking that I've learned with all my other activities I'm doing at the moment and trying to use that here. It is a lot. Good job, P. It is a lot going on, and trying to not only think about my approach, but the team approach and what happens next inning. It is a lot, but it's also a really unique part of AU that I enjoy, and so I'm all for it.
And we see you talking a lot to Danielle O'Toole in between innings. How much has she helped you throughout this captain process?
Oh, she's been huge. Not only was she phenomenal to play behind and with and against, but she's there for me whenever I need her, and she's always, thinking for me when it comes to some of the pitching rotations, and you're really using that pitcher mind to help me. Nice, P.
Aubrey, I've been watching you for a number of years now. You, of course, were part of that original class of 2020 here at Athletes Unlimited. And no one thinks the game better than you do. Maybe some people the same level, but you're incredible with some of the decisions that you make split second, knowing not only how to win it.
Yeah, Lee. Nice, Lee.
And Aubrey, it's not just about how you win a game, but it's also about how you accumulate points. Who are some of the people that got you thinking at that high level of how to play this type of softball?
I've always loved the mental game, and so AU was the perfect storm of a mental approach individually, but also that team factor. And so I've kind of embraced it a little more and trying to think more strategically. I know my first season I was still in the college mode of it's a team sport, do what it takes to win the game, and I wasn't scoring a ton of individual points, and I think I've tried to make those adjustments throughout these last couple seasons. Good pitch, and I think it's paying off.
Well, you've got some big fans up here noticing every move you make. It's been a lot of fun, not only watching you play, but also watching you think the game, so we're noticing.
Oh, thank you.
Aubrey, we're going to say goodbye, but we'll keep your microphone open. We'll just listen in and see how you communicate with your teammates.
Thank you. Good pitch. Yeah, P. Yeah, P. Yeah, 5-0. Yeah, 5-0. Right here, P. Stop. See you. Huh? I'm done now. Thank you. I know. We got this.
So Aubrey Leach, I like that. Does every single second baseman, middle infielder mention slap when there's a slapper up there and it looks like they may slap?
I think sometimes it's just an instinct too, and you're not only just telling your teammates, but you're telling yourself too that you're reading it, whatever the batter is doing up at the plate, because sometimes batters will give away pretty early in their motion what they're going to do, whether it's going to be a slap or a bunt. But you can hear her just constantly communicating out on the infield.
You have kind of a unique connection with her. You guys are both
Good pitch, Pete.
Lady Vols. You played with her when she was a young player. Was she always this type of player?
See, she has always been a forward-thinking type of player, and I got the opportunity to coach Aubrey when I was a volunteer assistant at the University of Tennessee, and you could just always tell that she has this competitive fire every single time that she steps out onto the field, but the way that she's able to think in 1 and 2 pitches ahead, something that we saw throughout her college career. And that's one of the reasons why she was such a difficult out up at the plate, because she was constantly reading pitches and defenses, deciding how she wanted to approach it.
Well, a great inning for Aubrey Leach and Team Leach. They win the inning. That means they won the third as well. It's a +20 for everyone on Team Leach. Not only that, they're leading the game. 7-5, they're on top. The 5th is next.
I had the pleasure of last year playing on Father's Day in San Diego, and my dad was there. And a lot of softball gets played in June. So most Father's Days, I've been playing softball, and he's been there. It's super special to play on Father's Day.
He's always been my biggest supporter. He's coached me since I was very little. He's always been hard on me, but we've always had that special bond and special connection because of softball.
My dad, he's instilled so much in me. The will, the grit, the intensity, just the competitiveness. He's a big role model for me.
My dad means everything to me. He loves watching me play softball, so I'm so thankful that on Father's Day he'll be able to watch me hit, and I hope that I get a hit for him.
Hey, cool stuff. Well, being a father myself, my Father's Day was just made. My youngest daughter, Harriet, is watching the game, and she just told me she's watching, and that just made my day. So, hey, I'm good to go now.
Happy Father's Day to you as well.
We remind all of our young fans to please be
We've made it to the top of the 5th inning.
Please keep an eye
And how about Team Leach? They are doing it and doing it and doing it well. Scored 2 times in the 1st inning, 1 time in the 2nd inning, and then 4 times in the 4th. They lead 7-5. Danielle Gibson singled her last time up. 1 for 3 with an RBI. Sorry, 1 for 2 with an RBI. She's now 7 for 15. First look at Mariah Masson. Masson popping that mitt, but a pitch misses outside. Masson came on with nobody out an inning ago, gave up a leadoff double to Tori Vidalis, but then retired Zirkle, Fisher, and Davidson.
Hard hit foul ball over into the dugout of Team Taylor. It looked like Alicia Ocasio and Delaney Wiz up at the front of the dugout having to dive out of the way of that line drive. Hopefully it didn't hit anybody. Maybe it did.
I think it did. It's Delaney Wiz, who has been scorching hot today. Already 3 hits, including a homer. Danielle Gibson on the short list of prettiest swings in the game today. Lanky left-hander, 6 feet tall.
Had a great career in her time as an Arkansas Razorback, now on the coaching staff for the Georgia Bulldogs. Got an opportunity to call a couple of Georgia softball games throughout this season, and listening to head coach Tony Baldwin talk about what Danielle Gibson brings to that coaching staff. Said she's so good at recognizing trends from the pitchers.
Off the glove of Stuart Hunter. Oh, she got almost a highlight level play in her glove, but it just wasn't meant to be.
You know the ball's gonna find you, and this one's hit hard off the bat of Danielle Gibson. Just out of the reach of Kelsey Stewart Hunter. Looked like she had it just for a split second, but hit too hard, falls out of her glove. A really nice swing there by Danielle.
So runner aboard, nobody out. Sis Bates will be next. And a bunt's laid down. Nadia Taylor gets Bates out at first. That'll go down as a sacrifice. That's a +10 for Sis Bates. Runner on at second, nobody out. And folks, it is now our privilege. We're going to get a smile. I guarantee you everyone at home is going to be smiling after this interview. We're going to talk to Sam Fisher, who has got maybe the most contagious smile in professional softball over the last decade and a half. Sam, how you doing?
You know what? I'm really, really good, and I got Invisalign last year, so I'm trying to make that smile even better. Okay?
Does anything make you smile more than when you finally get a hold of a good rise ball up at the plate? Because I know I love swinging at rise balls. I know you share my love of rise balls up at the plate.
I truly, like, the worst thing that could happen to me is connecting with one, because then I'm going to keep swinging at them. So that actually, it feels great, but then I'm like, dang it, got to keep going for them.
We love listening to this clip of you talking about, of course, what your dad means to you, but also just the tradition of really playing softball on Father's Day.
Yeah.
Is there any memory in particular that really stands out to you of something that you guys share when it comes to softball between you and your dad?
Literally everything, like from, you know, the on the field, off the field, in between, everything. Like he taught me, he's the reason my IQ is what it is. He's the reason that my work ethic is what it is. You know, there's nothing that we don't share, but I'll never forget my senior year of high school. We played 5 games at state in Lancaster. And we won every single game to qualify for nationals on Father's Day. And I'll just never forget it. We scored so many runs that day. It was magical.
I'm curious about your rides home with your dad. What was it like, win or lose? Did you guys talk about the game? Did you try and improve during those times? Or was it just everything but softball? What was that like?
Eric, I love this question because so many people talk about the ride home, and my dad and I talked about everything. Good game, bad game. I remember there was one day and I had a bad day, and I said, I don't want to talk about it. He said, okay, then we're not going to talk about the good games either. And it just, you know, you get better from the bad days, and we talked about everything, good, bad, ugly, because there's some ugly Sam stuff out there. And we talked about it all. You know, it was an opportunity to get better, and it's an opportunity to, if it was a good day, to maintain that success. Why were you successful? Why did that work out for you? You know, and we talked about softball. Even when we parked the car in the driveway, got in the house, eating dinner, we still talked about it.
And we see you guys, especially on Team Leach so far in Series 2, really communicating a lot throughout this ball game. How important is it in just a short amount of time to get to know each other, but also to communicate throughout these ball games to come out on top?
It's so cool because there's a misconception when you look at AU. Oh, you're changing teams every week. Oh, there's no, you know, how do you build a team? And it happens instantly here. The communication is key. You know, you go, you talk, hey, where do you want me to be on this pitch? Where do you want me to be on this play? And you just talk, and it's the level of professionalism. Be like, we all know how to play ball. Let's learn how to play ball together in one practice.
And speaking of communication, now, is there somebody on your infield that speaks more between Sis Bates, yourself, and Tori Vidalis over at first base? Which one of you guys do you think communicates the most out there on the field? Because I don't think the chatter ever stops on that infield.
You're not wrong. You know what? I'm gonna give myself the cake on this one because I literally never shut up. I can't stop, even if.
Runners. Remember, still just 1 out. Aaliyah Andrews is the batter, and she takes a called strike. Well, Aubrey Leach, obviously you know very well. She's in the on-deck circle. She's just been incredible through the first 5 games. First games, it would be 5 games she's played now so far. Your thoughts on your captain this week?
Listen, I met and started playing with Aubrey Leach in 2019, and I remember thinking, how the heck is the nation not talking about her? She is so unbelievably under the radar, and she goes out, and this is how she always plays. This isn't a surprise. This isn't a fluke. This is just how Aubrey Leach plays. And, oh my gosh, are we going to score? We're not, but that's okay. Bases loaded. Cool. Sorry for taking your jobs up there, you guys. That's my bad.
You're doing a great job.
Thank you. But Aubrey Leach, she's incredible. She's so smart. She's so good. She's a true triple threat, and there's just nothing she can't do, and I hope she plays for 100 years.
And I know you're on her team this week, but I'm going to put you back into the analyst role here with the bases loaded. How difficult is it to play third base against a batter like Aubrey that can bunt, slap, and hit the ball with power, as we've seen?
The answer is yes. It's funny because we talk about it all the time. Like, she looks bored in there. She's like, you know, and then she's going to do something crazy powerful. So it's really tough because she can do anything, and I feel like I can get a good read on lefty slappers, and I never, ever know what she's going to do. There's no giveaway, nothing. Even she doesn't even blink, I don't think, in there. But she's going to come through. You just know it. She's going to come through right now.
Sam, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
I'll see you guys next time.
Done deal. Done deal. 2 balls, no strikes. Good hitters count right now for Leach. And taking all the way, wants to make sure that Masson earns it. It's now 2 balls and a strike. Runners on at every base. That last ball put in play by Aaliyah Andrews was ruled a hit, so it's a +10 for her. Squibber foul.
I do completely agree with Sam Fisher's analysis of Aubrey Leach up at the plate, too, having scrimmaged against Aubrey several times at Tennessee. So difficult to get a read on what she's going to do up at the plate, and I think it's because she just does not have a ton of movement in her stride up at the plate. You can see her eyes always scanning the field, but no giveaways in her setup. Now, of course, in a 2-2 count, you know she's primarily going to go to that swing away, especially with 2 runners now in scoring position and the power that we've seen from Aubrey throughout this series.
Oh, did she? Yes, she did. Strike 3, 2 outs. Big strikeout from Masson.
Huge strikeout for Masson. Goes away with this rise ball, tailing away from Aubrey Leach. Tries to check her swing, but can't hold up. A big bases loaded strikeout for out number 2.
Here's Tori Vidalis. Swings at the first pitch, and Masson's going to get out of it. Nadia Taylor makes the play, and the side is retired. Team Leach, they leave them loaded. Bases loaded, 1 out, but both Leach and Vidalis retired by Masson. Team Leach leads Team Taylor 7-5, bottom of the 5th inning. There is a chance for Team Taylor to win the inning. If they score 1 run, it'll be a +10 for everyone on Team Taylor. We feature the Yankees and the Red Sox for the 2nd straight week on Sunday Night Baseball. This time, they'll finish a 3-game series at Fenway Park, right here on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and ESPN Radio. Coverage begins at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific, with baseball tonight, Sunday Night Countdown. Brooke Yanez has been our star in the stands all afternoon long. She's still with us. Seems like Jesse Warren has left her side, but that's okay. Only room for 1 star these days. Brooke, curious, as a pitcher who got the save in the first game earlier today, when you watch a game, are you staring intently at pitchers? Or are you taking in the whole game? What's your usual focus when you're watching a game?
Definitely the pitchers, but I do take in the whole game. I love every single aspect of every single game. I'm definitely a big gamer, so especially scouting the hitters too, because I am playing Orange Team tomorrow. So,
Hey, curious from your pitcher's perspective. I know you're watching Peyton St. George. She's come out of the pen. She's faced 7 batters, retired them all. What have you noticed with what she's done?
I think right now she's doing a great job of just mixing her pitches and also mixing speeds. Again, here at Athletes Unlimited, I feel like that's the most crucial thing you could do, just because every team, every lineup is stacked. So, yeah, Peyton's doing a really good job with just mixing. She's not throwing the same thing to the batter more than once. So, really smart on her end.
And Brooke, I know this answer might be different depending on the pitcher, but how different is the mindset when you're a starting pitcher versus a pitcher that comes in relief in a ball game?
Yeah, it can definitely vary. I think her in her position, it seems more of as kind of just having to stop that bleeding and stop the chaos how it was earlier. So sometimes the mindset's that, or sometimes the mindset is to continue the momentum and keep the momentum on your side when a pitcher is having a really good game and you just go in for relief. So there's definitely different mindsets to that. But again, she's doing a really good job with stopping that bleeding and keeping the momentum on Team Gold's side.
Seemed like you found a whole bunch of friends.
Yeah.
Ball hit into the gap, left to right center field. Look at McKinney, man. She's been impressive. On her way to third. Look at those wheels. Good golly. She's got a chance to be special. Sydney McKinney, a leadoff triple.
She's too good. She is too good.
I would say, Brooke, where would you pitch her up at the plate? But it seems like Sydney McKinney has seen the ball so well that she can hit literally everything that she sees.
She really is. And again, the big question is, especially for someone like her and Aubrey Leach, how do you get them out? That is, I think that's the main question so far in week 2. How in the world do you get Sydney McKinney out and Aubrey Leach? They're doing such a good job. She's scary. Sydney's very scary to go up against, but it's good competition.
Well, Brooke, we thank you for hanging out with us as our star in the stands, and I think it's really cool that you have 3 apparently unbelievable fans hanging out with you. Looks like they absolutely adore you.
Yeah,
so you're doing something right.
They love Sis Bates, and I've just been talking about Sis Bates the whole time. So that's how I've kept them around me, just talking about Sis.
Brooke, thank you so much.
Thank you, and happy Father's Day to my dad, Brian. I love you.
You're going to win Daughter of the Year. Good job. Thank you, Brooke.
Thank you.
All right, we got a runner on at third, and we have nobody out. We have got an inning win on the line. Victoria Hayward is the batter. Victoria, I guarantee you, knows that if she lays down a sacrifice bunt squeeze and the runner scores, she'll win an inning and get points for it. She knows that if she hits a fly ball to the outfield that scores the run, she'll get points and it'll be an inning win. So Vic, who knows these rules as well, if not better than anyone, with an opportunity right here to get points for herself and her team, even with an out. 2-2. 3-2. Vic has accumulated points her first 2 times up. Walked and stole a base in the first inning, laid down a sacrifice. Good for a +10 in the second. Into left field. Should be deep enough to get a run. Gibson makes the play. Here comes McKinney, and it's an inning win for Team Taylor. It's a 1-run game.
Textbook fundamental softball right there from Victoria Hayward. After the leadoff triple by Sydney McKinney, she knows she just has to do whatever she can to lift this ball deep enough out into the outfield to allow her to score from third base. And she knows it straight off of the bat that that's going to get the job done and get her team those 10-inning points.
So points without getting a base hit for Hayward. That's the name of the game. Nadia Taylor swings at the first tip and it pops it to Sis Bates. Second out of the 5th inning. All right, one more hurdle for Peyton St. George, and it's a big one. Deja Mulipola is the batter. Already 2 homers today for Mulipola. One in our first game and one in the first inning of our second game. Called strike 1. Last year, Mulipola was the champion of the championship season in August here in this building. Off the third baseman, Fisher, unable to make the play. Inning continues. That's an error on Fisher. No points for Mulipola.
That ground ball hit hard off of the bat. It looks like it rolled up, possibly hit Sam Fisher. She's shaking it off a bit. Looks to be okay. Almost hits off of the heel of her glove and then pops up. She's still out there, looks to be all right.
Kelsey Stewart Hunter. Called strike 1. Kelsey Stewart Hunter, in her athletic career growing up in Wichita, Kansas, had people cheering for her and also did a lot of cheering herself. She was a member of a competitive cheer team for many, many, many years and was considered to be very good. Into center field, and the out is recorded by Aaliyah Andrews. But a run does score, the big blow, a leadoff triple by Sydney McKinney. It's an inning win for Team Taylor.
I lost it. Sorry, Care. It went right in the sun. I was trying to wait for it to come back and it just didn't come back out of it. Bubba! I went straight to the sun. I went straight to the sun. You lost it too?
I can come across.
Okay. Well, that time I went like this straight to the sun, so we're good.
Well, sun, it's been a bit of a factor today. Kelsey Stewart been dealing with it all afternoon long. This is the second game of 2 that Team Taylor has played here in Rosemont, Illinois, and it's a 1-run game, Madison Shipman, as we play the 6th inning.
It's all about those adjustments, too. I love hearing, again, inside the game, Kelsey Stewart lost the first fly ball, but then on the next one, she said she put that big old first baseman's mitt right up into the sun so that she could track it. Even joked with her second baseman, Kaylee Clifton, who lost it in the sun as well, so thank goodness that Kelsey Stewart-Hunter was there to make that grab. Seen a lot of offense really at the beginning of this ball game. The base runners causing a lot of havoc on the base paths. But these pitchers kind of settling things down as this game has gone on since the bottom of the 4th inning. Only 1 run has been scored.
Morgan Zirkle leads things off. Zirkle, Sam Fisher, Mia Davidson. Zirkle so far today, 0 for 2 with a walk. Stole a base back in the 1st inning. I think Zirkle's one of those players through the last 4 years of Athletes Unlimited softball that has really benefited. Like her legacy. People now understand the player that she was. She was a great player, All-American at Marshall, but maybe didn't get as many looks as other players maybe in the Pac-12 or the ACC, the SEC, the Big 12 got. But now playing at this level and the way that she's played, I think there's a lot of people are thinking about her career and legacy a lot differently because she has been nails in every version of either AUX or just regular AU Championship Series softball.
The speed is really something that sticks out when you think of a player like Morgan Zirkle, that even that ground ball right there to Nadia Taylor, you have to field it in a hurry because just how fast Morgan Zirkle can reach down to first base.
Well, history will be made as Athletes Unlimited is bringing the first ever professional softball games to the Little League Softball World Series in Greenville, North Carolina, August 9th at 4:30 and 7 on ESPN2. You don't want to miss this inspirational event with the heroes of the game competing in regular season games in front of the Little League softball athletes and fans. Really cool concept. Sam Fisher, driven in 2 runs today without the benefit of a base hit. She's had what they called productive outs. Just put the ball in play. Never know what's going to happen. Ball and 2 strikes. On the ground, Taylor. Nadia Taylor has accounted for the first 2 outs here in the 6th inning.
The catcher, number 46.
A couple of really good locations by Mariah Masson in the circle, too, locating those pitches down at the knees, but also working the off speed to get Sam Fisher out in front, and another ground ball over to Nadia Taylor for out number 2.
Dating back to the end of the 5th inning, the last 3 balls put in play by Team Leach have all been fielded by Nadia Taylor. Mia Davidson, laser beam out to center field. First hit on the afternoon for Davidson.
Next up, the left fielder, number 5, Danielle Gibson.
Really aggressive in this at-bat, going after the first pitch that she sees. It's another pitch, low and outside, but she gets her barrel to it, out in front just slightly. But Mia Davidson so strong, able to muscle that one out into center field for a 2-out base hit. 76.6 off the bat.
Back-to-back base hits. Danielle Gibson. So after 2 ground ball outs to third, line drive hits for Davidson and Gibson. And now Sis Bates next in line. And we may have a pitching change. Yep, we will see Georgina Korick come into the ball game. She was the starter in our first game earlier today. Pitched well for a large chunk of the game. Eventually got charged for the loss, but she will come on now with 2 runners on and 2 outs here in the top of the 6th inning.
Georgina Korek coming into this ball game, and we mentioned in game 1, what makes her so effective out in the circle is she has a wide variety of pitches that she can go to in any count. Really likes to paint the edges of the strike zone. Take a look at what she was able to do in game 1 today, working pitches outside to these right-handed batters. Majority of the strikeouts that she got in game 1 were strikeouts looking, because she was working the outside part of the plate and then continued to work it further and further outside to get more of those calls.
All right, question for you, Madison Shipman. We talked about Korek, those strikeouts, understanding the home plate umpire's strike zone. Now she comes in as a new home plate umpire. How well can a pitcher possibly know the strike zone of the home plate umpire when they come into the game late in the game?
That's where the in-game communication comes into play. So you want to be talking to Deja Mulipola throughout the ball game, because she's caught both games today. So she's seen a lot of time back behind the dish. So she knows exactly which locations are going to be called in this zone in this game. Just a slightly tighter. I think that pitch that we just saw go by for ball 1 might have been a pitch that was called for a strike in game 1. But now having to adjust to that in game 2 of this doubleheader.
I keep thinking at some point I'm going to come up with a question that stumps you. At some point in my career. Runners on at first and at second, 2 outs, Sis Bates. Sis laid down a sacrifice her last time up. Just handed a note. Korek, how about this? In game 1, had 25 pitches called for strikes. 25 pitches thrown were called strikes. So a combination of patience for Team Filler, but also understanding the home plate umpire strike zone.
She ended up with 5 strikeouts looking in that ball game too. Not typically something that you see. There are her numbers from earlier today. 4 2/3 innings pitched.
Three balls and 2 strikes.
We'll see how she responds too after having a couple hours break in between when she pitched last and now coming in relief in this ball game.
Hard into center field. Let's see if they send Davidson. No! Throw was offline and looked like Team Taylor may have gotten away with one. If Davidson would have come in, and she would have scored standing. But 3 consecutive 2-out singles for Team Leach.
3-2 count, so Sis Bates knows that Georgina Korek's going to bring something near the strike zone. Straight off the bat, she knows that this ball's going out into the outfield. Mia Davidson rounded the base hard, but just held up at the last minute. Keep the bases loaded with 2 away.
Here's Jordan Roberts. A perfect afternoon. Homered back in the 4th inning. Also reached with a walk and been hit with a pitch.
Take you back to the top of the 4th inning, and this is what Jordan Roberts did off of a Carrie Eberly drop ball outside, an off-speed pitch that she gets out in front just slightly, but keeps her hands high enough to drive that ball out of the yard to get things going for Team Leach in that inning.
Two and 1 to Roberts. This rally starting with 2 outs. Quality pitch, nothing Roberts could do. All right, things are interesting now. The carousel will be in motion. Bases loaded, 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Got her. Georgina Korek strikes out Jordan Roberts and leaves the bases loaded. That was big for Team Taylor.
After back-to-back-to-back base hits, Georgina Korek comes through with the big bases-loaded strikeout to end the inning.
Athletes Unlimited Softball on ESPN is sponsored by Aspiration, a global leader in financing climate impact. Father's Day softball here in Rosemont, Illinois. It has been a full day, action-packed, as we start Series 2 of what will be 3 series here for the AUX softball season. Coming up tonight, 7 Eastern, 6 Central on ESPN2 and ESPN Plus. We've got the College World Series winners bracket matchup between Florida and Oral Roberts under the lights. Both Florida and Oral Roberts winning their first game in dramatic fashion on Friday. Peyton St. George back in the circle. St. George now her fourth full inning. She's going to pitch. Came on with 2 outs in the second. This ball skied shallow left. Daniel Gibson makes the play. Delaney Wiz is retired.
The left fielder, number 24.
Peyton St. George retired the first 7 batters she faced. Gave up 1 run in the 5th, but still has pitched really well. Folks, you can join the Unlimited Club as a UC Gold member to receive a softball gold box. The box includes an exclusive jersey, Cat Osterman bobblehead, and more. Limited quantities are available, so go for the gold today at auprosports.com/membership. Cat Osterman won the inaugural season of Athletes Unlimited, any sport, back in 2020.
Luckily for me and my batting average, I never had to have an at-bat off of Cat Osterman.
You played with her, right?
Played with her, yes. It was much better playing at short behind Cat Osterman than actually being up in the box, especially because my swing does not like drop balls. I would not have fared well in that at-bat.
Jasmine Jackson. Just curious, and obviously a huge fan of Cat Osterman and what she did, not only internationally and collegiately at Texas, but for so many years as a pro. But if that was me, and I'm not a pro athlete, I would have been a little bit more afraid playing defensively behind Cat than maybe another pitcher, just because of the excellence she demanded of herself. I would have thought that she would have demanded excellence from me, and if I made any mistake,
she absolutely
I wouldn't
did.
want to face her.
Yeah, she demanded it out of everybody, and I remember my first ball game ever playing on the field with Cat. A runner got on first base in the first inning, and she immediately turned to me and she said, "You got me at 2." I was like, "Yes, I've got you at 2. I will absolutely be there if a ground ball is put into play."
Truth be told, I've interviewed her dozens of times over the years. I saw Cat play, I can't even tell you how many times, many no-hitters. But even every time I interviewed her, before a game, during a game, post-game, I was always just a little bit nervous because I didn't even want to ask a bad question. This is Cat Osterman. You got to be perfect. Peyton St. George throws out Jasmine Jackson. 2 outs, bottom of the 6th inning. Now, the very first name will always be that way in the history of Athletes Unlimited champions is going to be Cat Osterman. She got it all started back in 2020, and now we've added volleyball, lacrosse, basketball. It's a great list to be on.
One thing when you talk to all of these athletes that they love about being a part of Athletes Unlimited is learning so much from the players that are around them. And I know that was something that I really loved being a part of the professional league, is getting to learn from so many elite level athletes and how they operated on a day-to-day basis. And I think you see a lot of these players benefit from that too, maybe how they operate in the off season, what they do for their training to get ready for the professional season, learning even more about the game. I feel like there's always something that these players are doing to continue to grow and continue to perfect their craft, even at such an elite level.
Kaylee Clifton. Clifton, part of that great legacy of excellence out of Norman, Oklahoma. Played for Caddy Gasso. Meant a lot to her as well, because Clifton is a native Sooner from Wayne, Oklahoma. Beautiful pitch. Peyton St. George pulled the string on that changeup and strikes out Clifton. So a scoreless 6th inning, rollover innings as we head to the 7th.
8 was my number growing up because it was my brother's number growing up. And of course, Alicia Ocasio just had to take it. So when I signed, I was like, okay, what other number can I be? And my dad was like, well, 29's open. You know, I wore that when I played. And so I was like, yeah, that would be a cool tribute because my dad has been right beside me my entire career. Like literally from when I was 6 years old, in the cages together. Like he taught me how to hit. You know, he's teaching me all of these things about the game. He would quiz us in the backseat of the car about different plays that we would make. Sharing this with him is so special because I wouldn't be here without him. Love you, Dad.
Special stuff. TV Tori Vidalis. Give it props to her dad. I love it.
Love seeing that. That's why she decided to wear the number 28 too. Always a fun backstory to why these athletes choose the numbers that they do. We even learned about Jessie Warren. You taught me about why Jessie Warren wears the number that she does.
I'm going to teach you something else too. Tori Vidalis wanted to be 8. She's 29. Nadia Taylor wanted to be number 8. She was 8 her entire life. Travel ball, high school ball. She goes to Texas, and of course, Kat Osterman has that retired and then some. So she adds an extra 8. And that's why Nadia Taylor, every level she's been at, National Pro Fast Pitch with the Akron Racers, now 4 years with Athletes Unlimited, always wear 88.
I have a similar story to why I chose 44 as well. 11 was taken. I was always 11 growing up, and one of my teammates had 11 on the team, so I just chose another similar number.
Just added kind of like a triangle onto the one.
Added a little, a little triangle onto it, and that's how I got 44.
Hey, how about that? Well, 4 was available for Georgina Cork. She took it, and she's running with it. Cork came out of the pen, top of the 6th inning, and immediately gave up a base hit to load the bases, and then she struck out Jordan Roberts. Now Cork facing Aaliyah Andrews with a whole bunch on the line here in the 7th inning. Tough chance. Got her! Andrews is retired. Clifton gets Andrews by a whisker. Let's see if this will be a captain's challenge.
Looked like Aubrey Leach was signaling for a review. It looks like it is under review now. Close play over at first base. These speedy lefties making it really difficult for these infielders. Clifton getting rid of it.
That's tough.
So hard to tell.
That's tough. The call on the field was out. Is there indisputable video evidence to overturn? Call on the field was out. Kind of looked like Aaliyah was zigging a little bit on her way down the line. That may have been the difference between a hit and an out.
That last look right there looked like maybe that toe got down just before the ball is completely in Kelsey Stewart-Hunter's glove over at first base.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be the squeeze of the glove. It just has to be the ball in the glove. And the call is confirmed. It's upheld. So Andrews is out number 1. And that's a big first out. Team Leach leading 7-6. Clearly they're trying to win the game. That's your biggest point total you could get. Whichever team wins is a plus 50. But also we've got inning points on the line. Team Leach, they won innings 1 and then 3 and 4. So they've got 30 points everyone for inning wins. But right now there's 20 points on the line because the 6th was rolled over with no one scoring, and now the 7th. Leach. Really, the only time she stubbed her toe so far in the first 2 weeks of Athletes Unlimited AUX Softball was her last time at the plate. Had the bases loaded and just 1 out and wasn't able to put the ball in play. Trying to make amends here.
That was a strikeout on a similar pitch to what we just saw Georgina Korick throw Aubrey Leach. A pitch up and outside. She tried to check her swing back in the 5th, wasn't able to hold up. Korick going back to it on back-to-back pitches.
3 balls and 2 strikes. Called strike 3. What a pitch by Korick.
After working pitch after pitch on the outside part of the plate, she decides to work it back inside. A good looking curveball right there. Freezes Aubrey Leach. She thinks it's ball 4, but it's strike 3 for Georgina Korick.
One more out for Korick to get. Tori Vidalis. Vidalis still looking for her first homer. Here in AUX softball, she's hit the ball hard. A double a couple innings ago. This one into right field, sinking! Nice play made by Abby Ramirez. We've seen Ramirez as a middle infielder for years now, but she looks like a natural right fielder with that play. Good work.
Tori Vidalis tries to drop another one out into right field, but Abby Ramirez says, not today. The big inning for Team Leach in this ball game was in the 4th inning, and it all started with a solo shot off the bat of Jordan Roberts, an off-speed pitch that she makes a really good in-at-bat, in-pitch adjustment. It drives it over the left field wall, and then it was the captain herself, Aubrey Leach, going yard. A 2-run shot out to right field, and Team Leach has the 1-run lead as we head into the bottom of the 7th.
For every run scored during this year's Athletes Unlimited AUX season, Aspiration committed to planting 10 trees. Stay tuned throughout the season to see how many trees will be planted thanks to Aspiration's support. All right, we've got a new pitcher to tell you about. This will be Megan Faramo coming in, rookie from UCLA. She will be the 3rd pitcher of the afternoon for Team Leach. She replaces Peyton St. George, who was magnificent.
Megan Faramo was the pitcher that Aubrey Leach picked first in the draft this week. Faramo's coming into this ball game, going to throw with some really good velocity and relief for a phenomenal performance that we saw from Peyton St. George in this ball game.
All right, we have got a pinch hitter batting against the new pitcher, Shannon Rhodes, who was an absolute world beater last year with Athletes Unlimited, off to a slow start this year. Former Texas Longhorn. Team Taylor down by a run with 3 outs to work with. Now the way this is going to go down, if Team Taylor does not score, not only will they lose the game, it'll be 50 points for everyone on Team Leach, but also the rollover innings dating back to the 6th will go to Team Leach. It'll be a +20. Nice play by Faramo. confidently backhands and throws to first. 1 down.
The shortstop, number 26.
Well, we feature the Yankees and Red Sox for the second straight week on Sunday Night Baseball. This time they'll finish a 3-game series at Fenway Park, right here on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and ESPN Radio. Coverage begins at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific with baseball tonight. Sunday Night Countdown. Rhodes is retired, back to the top of the order. And one tough customer, Sydney McKinney. 2 for 3. Single and a triple. This would be a really slow start to Series 2 for Team Taylor if they can't rally. Remember, they lost earlier today, 8-2. Big star in that game, Rachel Garcia. Ramo just lost control, 2-2.
Goes with an off-speed pitch there, just lets it go a bit too soon. Taking a look at our leaderboard here, Rachel Garcia sitting right there at the top with 680 points. Jessie Warren not too far behind. Andrea Filler, team captain this week in that number 3 spot.
Well, Leach currently in the 4th spot at 574 points. If her team holds on and wins, she will get a huge bump. It'll be plus 50 for the win, plus 20 for winning the 6th and the 7th. And you got to imagine she may be in consideration for MVP 1, 2, or 3. She's had a nice day at the plate. The captain for Team Leach has 2 hits. She scored 2 runs. She stole a base and hit a homer. Second homer of the AUX season. For Ramos, 2-2. McKinney's a tough out.
It's interesting, too, how far up in the box she is against somebody like Megan Faramo. I've kind of noticed this throughout the first couple of games that we've seen. Sydney McKinney does not like to move into the back of the box when she's facing high velocity, but actually moves a bit further up in that batter's box.
McKinney from the state of Missouri, and she's shown me something. She can run. She gives you a tough at bat. She's got some pop in the bat. Defensively, she's been flawless. A lot to like. Off the thumbs, humpback liner. Sis Bates makes the play. 2 down.
Good location there by Megan Faramo. Threw an off-speed pitch that was called for a ball and then jams up McKinney right on the hands for out number 2 in the bottom of the 7th.
So the last hope for Team Taylor to win a game today is Victoria Hayward. Nick has scored points every way possible almost. A single, plus 10. A stolen base, plus 10. A sacrifice bunt, plus 10. A sacrifice fly, plus 10. Oh, and 2. Faramo trying to slam the door and pick up a save. Hayward does have power. Two and 2.
Faramo pumping it in with some pretty high, consistent velocity. That last pitch, just over 68 miles per hour. The 2 pitches prior to that, over 69 miles per hour.
One-run ball game. Faremo needs one more strike. Oh my. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Should Hayward keep the game alive, the captain for Team Taylor, Nadia Taylor, lies in wait. On the ground, Leach makes the play, ball game. What a win. Team Leach, they take down Team Taylor on a Sunday afternoon, and that's going to be a big bump for everyone. A +50 for winning the game and an extra +20 for winning the 6th and the 7th innings.
We saw Team Leach really do a variety of different things. We saw them be aggressive on the base paths. We saw a couple of home runs from their offense, but also the way that they were able to utilize 3 different pitchers to ultimately get this win today and a ton of inning points for everybody on this squad.
Well, it was a whole heck of a lot of fun here in Rosemont, Illinois. Glad to be back in the saddle again with my partner, Madison Shipman. There's your final score, folks, 7-6. Aubrey Leach and Team Leach picks up the win over Team Taylor. Coming up next, Wake Forest and Missouri battling in the 2022 Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl. From Madison, I'm Eric saying goodbye, everybody.